Hi, everybody. This is Paul Hitchcock with Wealth Protector TV. Really excited to have divorce attorney Holly Moore on with us. Holly, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you, Paul. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Well, you and I were talking a little bit offline about, divorce. Obviously, it's, no one likes to go through it, but I asked you the question because I really didn't know is what can't you change during a divorce? So that what are you counseling your clients on as they're thinking about this? So help us out. What goes on with that sort of scenario?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So a lot of clients that come to us, maybe they have not filed for divorce yet, but they've talked to their spouse and they know that that is coming, whether it's them filing or the spouse filing. That part doesn't really matter. But what they always ask is, can I change? What can I change once the divorce is going in terms of bank accounts and credit cards and insurance beneficiaries and things like that? And the really important thing to know is once somebody files, there's something on that paperwork that you file that basically has a rule. You can't change any of that type of stuff. So if you do want to change it, you should do it prior to filing for divorce.
But do you see situations where it gets kind of sticky where, they don't want to let their spouse know that they're thinking about divorce because it's there's fighting going on, but they want to change the accounts because they're afraid that, it's in his or her name. And how do you handle that?
Yeah. So, that is kind of discretionary in terms of what attorney you talk to. Right. I'm kind of a straight shooter. I don't think that a person should find out that their marriage is going to be dissolved from a process server. So I always encourage my clients, and quite honestly, it's fairly rare that I get somebody who comes to me who's ready to go. I may get someone who comes to me and says, please tell me my options. This is a possibility. But it's very rare that someone would come to us for a divorce completely ready to roll without first having had not even just one conversation with their spouse, but many conversations with their spouse, trying to figure out, can we salvage this marriage? Can we not? How are we going to go forward? That kind of thing. So, but even if they haven't, I would always encourage clients, hey, talk to your spouse. Maybe they don't agree. Maybe you talk to them and you say, hey, I'm really concerned. I don't want, either of us going out and racking up a bunch of credit card debt with this sort of looming divorce in our near future.
Yeah.
Can we please just, stop using this credit card, close the account, or can I take your name off of it? You can take my name off of it or whatever. They don't necessarily have to agree, but at least you're putting them on notice that that's what's going to happen. The other part to that is, whatever you do prior to the court getting involved certainly is going to be brought up when you get to court. So you don't really want to do anything that kind of makes you fall into disfavor with the judge. There are certain strategical aggressive moves, but in general, the bottom line is you want to tell the other person, hey, we're dissolving this marriage. It would be easier if we closed the joint account, or we separated cell phones, we separated car insurance, something like that.
Very interesting. The point you brought up about people are not raring to go when they come and see you, that they're probably distraught. So how do you help them at that point? Is it sort of you're like a counselor to some extent at that point? What's that conversation like when someone first comes to you?
So sometimes I feel like a counselor. I am technically not qualified or trained as a counselor,
right.
But, I've been doing this divorce exclusively for 12 years as an attorney, and a few years before that as support staff. So I've seen one or two of these situations, 1 or 2,000 of these situations. So, this kind of comes down to my own core values. Ironically, I really believe in marriage. So, and I think there's a lot of marriages that have hiccups, but they're worth fighting for. So if somebody comes to me and, it seems like maybe there could be hope, I will always encourage them to go to a marriage counselor. I will give them a referral to a marriage counselor. Again, that's a little bit rare. Usually by the time they get into my office, even though they may not tell me this is what I'm doing, I've made my decision, I can kind of tell. They may not even know it consciously, but I can tell like they've checked out. So it really just depends. It's very, very fact specific. But like I said, if it seems like maybe there is hope, maybe they have not made up their mind, maybe they haven't even talked to the spouse, I will always encourage them, hey, do what you can do to see if you can save this. If that's truly in your heart, and if not, you know where I am, type of thing. But sometimes, and I would say more often than not, it's terrible situations that people are telling us about, where it's actually really unhealthy for the kids if they stay in that marriage. It's unhealthy for themselves if they stay in that marriage. There's a lot of financial damage that happens in that sort of limbo period, not to mention all the emotional damage. So if it's that kind of a situation, then we just basically we listen. That's one of the key things that we do really, really well is we listen, and then we hold up the mirror to them and go, okay, are you ready to get started? And if they say, I don't know. Okay, let's just talk, let's just go through what you just told me. You just told me X, Y, and Z. Does that sound like something that you want to keep experiencing? So that's kind of how we do it, because ultimately it has to be their decision. It has to be something that they feel very, very convicted in. And certainly if they're not to that point yet, I mean, there's been a couple times where somebody has met with us, we encouraged them to go to counseling, and they didn't divorce. They worked on their marriage, and that's beautiful. That's wonderful. Like, that makes me feel amazing. Like we're doing good work, even, not in the context of a divorce.
Yeah. You and I've got to know each other a bit here recently, and I can tell you when you say that, I know it's the truth with all sincerity, based on who you are. That's awesome. Well, my takeaway is before the divorce is see if you can work it out. If not, then, don't try to, do it in secret. Try to have a meaningful conversation so there's not confrontation, kind of get the finances squared away, and don't do anything dumb that a judge is going to come back and nail you for. Would you agree those are some good takeaways?
You nailed it, Paul. I would definitely agree. Yeah. And again, it doesn't mean that you can't be strategically aggressive about it. So it's not like we are of the opinion that everything is, we just have to be very nicey nice and we have to do everything that the other person wants us to do. But you want to be smart about it. So you don't want to cut. Let's just say, for example, I have one spouse that is concerned about credit card use, concerned about having to continue to pay for auto insurance for 2 years while the divorce is pending, that kind of thing. I'm not going to say, hey, you just need to pay, because you just do. But it's like, okay, let's be smart about how we're going to terminate these benefits for the other spouse. Let's give proper notice. Let's give them 10 days to get their stuff together and, get their own auto insurance or open up their own bank account, that kind of thing.
Great. Love it. Holly, always good information. Thanks so much for jumping on. We'll see you next time.
Absolutely. Thanks, Paul.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.